Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. Wherever they are, they're jumping on board in their car, wherever they are, coming to jump on the mighty companion wagon, the brigade of infinite light, celebrating as it is whole, holy, and complete. What a relief today, being reminded not to play in the laws of man. Let me not bind your son with laws I made, that we're not under the laws of unhappiness. No, not for us. We're under the laws of God. Those are some happy laws. The happy laws of no ego. Doesn't know what an ego is. Let's just check in with the divine light of being, infinite light. See if we can find an ego in there. Does the divine light know what that is? Is there like a little person inside there? A little person bundle. It's good to keep checking because we really do want to experience ourselves like a little person in an object. Consciousness likes to play, even though there can't be a person. So it's good to keep checking in with the light. Is a person here somewhere? We start hearing that voice of the person, because we know what that voice is. It's every voice other than God's voice. Every other voice. The voice of the unreal one. The one that doesn't exist. Thank you, Jesus. Oh my goodness, another good jacuzzi talk. I just have a good talk with Jesus in the jacuzzi. And I don't know why that's the Q&A time or something. It's always Q&A time. I mean, that's really the happiness. When you just start talking to Jesus all day. And again, he reminds me to say that if you're in the light circles, you are called to speak God, speak Jesus. And I was talking to some beings about that. I was like, it's like a shock. It was a shock to me. It's still just say yes. What he answered, just say yes and go. That's it. Because it's the voice, it's not a collective. It is the only voice that there is. And it's fulfillment of our only function to let that voice just let freedom ring through what comes out here. Listen for what he says, say it. Listen for what he says, say it. And just really getting used to the voice. And now surprising that an infinite being has to get used to the voice for God, because of the design of consciousness to deny it, the hologram. It's a reacclimation to his voice is our voice. That voice is our voice, not multiple Jesus in every being, Jesus. And that's really the beauty of these joinings. Because beings are asking me, okay, when do you join? Well, right now it's all the time. That's the assignment. Every time there's a twitch, join. It is so glorious hearing Jesus speak through your brother, through our brothers. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful to hear that voice come through 24/7. So it's just a symbol. We're a symbol for each other that Jesus speaks 24/7. Middle of the night, 4:30 in the morning, I got up, so somebody called. Jesus said, answer it, So I tried to join. 4:30, it's whenever. That's our function. There's no greater function than joining. Remember, he's saying when you join, the ego cannot maintain that lack of content. So in the jacuzzi join, you're joining with Jesus all day. These my brothers sitting behind me here, brothers, light representatives that are sitting here on the it's not that we're putting Renee back in the basement back over there. It's just that this room has an odd shape to it with a support beam. So that's why that's why I let you know why she's sitting back there. So I was talking in the jacuzzi, and he was oh my gosh, there's so much love in this. There's so much love in the miracle. Like, I can, He's pointing to me saying, these are just expressions of divine love. So it's sort of like, okay, we're feeling like horrible. If we ask for a miracle, we feel better. Okay, that's good. Next. He's saying, really notice those miracles. Those are expressions of divine love unleashed. And he was reminding me that's so beautiful that he's in control of miracles. We really need to remember that. Ask him which miracles perform, because he knows the best ones. I mean, we can ask and say, this feels like a miracle because I feel like I am not at peace right now. Yes, we can ask for a miracle. We can just ask for the miracles all the time. He knows which ones, and that's what makes it fast. See, consciousness wants to get control of the miracles, divert the miracles, make them go sideways, decide, okay, I'm going to squeak out a little miracle here. I'll allow this one. But when we give him full access, full 100% access to the subconscious mind by asking, okay, Jesus, what is it really that I need to see here? And you will see it when you join with your mighties. You're going to see it because you just ask each other. Okay, ask Jesus. Okay, what do we really need to see here? He will pinpoint you to the decimal point. That's what we don't want to see. We don't see that decimal point. But it's so, everyone just sees, you just see how gentle, how kind. It's the ego that's the meanie, the Borg. We've subjugated creative power, infinite creative power, to the Borg. And then we try to pin it on the conceptual idea we have of what Jesus is. Jesus is just a symbol in our mind for infinite light. And it seemingly having another voice in there, the voice of Jesus, it helps us discern. It's our voice. There's not a voice outside. Thoughts leave not their source. Jesus leaves not their source. We leave not our source. It's all one. But it helps with that discernment of who's speaking to me. And you start to hear the authority. That's experience here. Start to hear the authority come through. That you want that authority to come through. Not, it's a benevolent authority. Because we've given our authority, it's the authority of God that needs to move this way. See, we carry that same authority, but when we deny the voice is our voice, the voice, this doesn't belong to anyone. It's the voice for God, the one voice, the voice of the one, the voice of truth. But the power of that, Jesus, show me the miracles. Show me which miracles. Infinite power in that. I didn't get that before. I didn't want to, obviously. That was a play. Didn't want to see it. Didn't want to hear Jesus. Similar reports are coming in from the kingdom. From the kingdom, seemingly reflections in mind don't want to hear Jesus, but at least we can admit it. See, before we were just... And that's why sometimes it has to get so miserable in consciousness until we finally go, help, because we're saying no to the very part of ourselves that knows the way home. So wonderful. I just really sorry. Yeah, he knows those. That's a part of ourselves that really knows there's a way out, because we constructed this hologram with all these billions. We've talked about this before. The smorgasbord of potential denial. When they talk about the quantum field, infinite potentiality for suffering is in a diversified field. To play out infinite scenarios, infinite lifetimes. I talked about this. Infinite universes, angels, demons. Look at the diversity on Facebook. Look, every group, like 1,000 different groups, they keep coming up, karmic wonder world. And It's not to judge anybody. It's just to really look carefully with Jesus and let him point out, look at the smorgasbord. And then we're like mindless. We get into the mindless patterns like Facebook, just hit the hearts. It's a way to sleep. That's why he's saying, follow me. Ask me which Facebook post for you to see. It's so light that way. Then he just, there's all this stuff moving and changing and all this stuff. And like we get distracted, as I said, we go for pizza or however that works. And then we can just say, okay, Jesus, like, what am I doing? He helps us stay focused on divinity. That's all his functions. It was so beautiful. I was joining with Marguerite and he told her, my only function is I can only give you miracles. And meanwhile, we're trying to hide in the closet. I don't want to speak to him. But that's the whole play in consciousness. We don't want miracles. Consciousness doesn't want miracles. Consciousness is a miracle diversion device. That's what that is. It's a play to divert all the miracles, all the expressions of divine love. Even though we know we can't do it. Is the light of divine being, is honesty of God really? Oh, goodness. Can we be anything other than light? We want to one-up the light. Let's just look and see how that's working. Kind of usurp the power of God is literally trying to one-up the light. And I know some of you that have looked deeply, this. You've had that experience. It's like, I really want to tell the light where to go. That's part of the play, wanting to give the light the boot. But we're not successful, thankfully. We can have happily no success over giving the light the boot in reality. So that's what we continue to look in chapter 20. Just to see, let Jesus please take over all the miracles. Oh my gosh, so much love in that. It's like, just asking for miracles, you're happy. It's miscellaneous. You don't even know if you need a miracle right now. Ask anyway. Let him decide if you need a miracle right now. We're asking him. Give us as many miracles in this session as we can have. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. As many expressions of infinite love. So let's see. We're looking at separation and strife. This whole idea of attack. Let's ask them directly to show us any desire below our awareness of attack, the desire to experience attack. And it could be really subtle. Oh gosh, every time he reminds me, when you don't follow me, that's attack. Ask the light. When we do not follow the light, is that attack? That is the greatest form of attack. Because we're siding with weakness, which is attack. See, every time we side with weakness and don't follow the light, we're attacking ourselves. We can't really do it, thankfully. It's impossible, but we'll feel like it and we'll feel guilty. Like the double whammy. You believe it's possible. We'll go through these again. Attack is such a huge part. We know that from looking, such a huge part of the ego thought system. So we just ask, okay, Jesus, you desire an experience of attacking God, attacking ourselves because we're synonymous with God. Let's just ask, in the light of divine being, is there any desire to attack ourselves? If he says yes, okay, Jesus. Okay, he says yes, I just say, okay. Now show me what I need to see about that. What do I need to see about the desire to attack myself? And just listen to what he says about it. What's underneath the desire for attack? What's attack hiding? That's a good question to ask Jesus. What's it hiding? Now what he says here in the desire for two. See, it hides. See, we hide behind attack. If we can just beat that light off, we can keep the desire for choice. Beat it off. Just ask him and see if that's true. It's in your direct experience. He'll bring you all the way down to choice. And we can ask him, what is that a choice for? Attack is the choice for what? Ask him. So we get used to asking. Tell me about this. So we know it, like he delivers it right into our heart. So it's no longer a concept on a page. It's like, holy smoke, I am asking for the choice for death. We need to see that so directly, because the ego is going to fend off and all this fear is going to play in consciousness. So we don't look with him directly at the desire for attack, the desire for choice, is the desire for death experience. Then we can just ask for a miracle, because it's just false perception that death is possible. And for each being, it's just so miraculous. That's why these joining sessions are just so miraculous, because you just listen to beings, because we ask Jesus, okay, what Jesus is telling you? And then that being will start talking about what Jesus is saying. And it's so clear and it's so perfect for each being. It's just beyond the beyond, just hearing it. It's joining, we're joining just for that. You just hear how God moves. It's just wonderful. And that we can hear him, and that your brother can hear him, and you can hear him, and everybody can hear him. It just seems like what I'm seeing from him is that it seems to come out of some reflection, like this body, that it's Jesus, or it comes out of Helen, because we're so darn afraid to have it come out of our mouths. I know that from experience, actually, that denial, playing that, because that was the play here. I'm not talking about Jesus. I'm not telling my mother. I'm going to tell my family I'm talking Jesus. I'm writing a book about Jesus, that kind of play. But it's the only talk worth having. At the end of the day, you see, speaking the words of God is the only thing value for all of us. And again, as he's reminding me, we're all called here to do that, actually. It's salvation. It's acceptance of divinity, actually. To speak the words as he tells her, not necessarily, okay, it doesn't have to be a Zoom forum, but every time we join with a being, see, every time we join with a being, we listen and then we speak his words. That's like the manna from heaven. Manna from heaven is going, okay, what is he telling me to do? What is he telling me to say? What's the miracle? What's the miracle? What's the miracle? And David Hoffmeister is a great reflection of that. He talks about it. I was always looking for the miracle. Everywhere I went, I looked for the miracle. Then instead of focusing on what's wrong, do you see that's how the ego works? It's going to focus. You remember we talked about the homing mechanism, done up, the shark in consciousness, the shark in conscious, done up. It's looking for that something to attack. In consciousness, looking around. He's got us now. He changes the focus in consciousness to looking for all the opportunities for love to express. Because that's what a miracle is. When we accept a miracle, we're accepting love's expression. So now we're looking around for all the ways love expresses, so that we can see it expressing in everything instead of attack. So let's just have thus you desire to have an experience of feeling attacked, since you're synonymous with God. Let's just ask, in the light of divine being, are we synonymous with God? Light's not saying no. So is it true in the light of divine being, whenever we feel attacked, we're attacking ourselves, trying to attack ourselves? Is there anyone out there in the light of divine being who can attack us in truth? See, that's what the ego doesn't want to see. It wants something out there to do the attacking. So let's just ask Jesus, can you show me anything else around this desire for attack that I need to see? I'm willing to see it and ask for a miracle for it. And just really notice the miracle. See how it's just like, oh, that's a miracle done, move on. Notice the miracle, what that's pointing to. That is pointing to infinite, unchanging love. That's why miracles are so exciting. And the promise fulfilled that we are not subject to our own delusions. Unless we choose to be, of course. But we can choose again, like he says, we're choosing the miracle, the expression of divine love within ourselves. You believe God will retaliate against you. We could put Jesus's name in there too. If I listen to Jesus, I will be retaliated against. I will be punished. We can just check in and just see if there's any energy around that. Let's see. Jesus, is there any desire to miscreate an experience of feeling God will retaliate against me? That Jesus is retaliating against me. That if I follow the voice, I'll be retaliated against. See, something bad will happen if I follow that voice. Is there any energy around that? And have them show us what that is really, the desire for retaliation. It's a desire for an experience. It's so helpful. It breaks the code. Because whenever we're saying, okay, I feel sad, this will break the code. I desire an experience to feel sad. See how that breaks the code? It puts the who done it in the who done it, who desired it. I desire an experience. Show me that desire. I'm willing to see it's untrue. And ask for a miracle on that desire for that experience. So he takes it to the next thing. You believe that the world can retaliate against you. Is there any desire for the world to retaliate against me? And sometimes I do find, let's ask, and he's saying yes. Sometimes we just have to sit with these a while because we want to like move on. And I'm giving examples. We're giving examples so we can really get used to what he's saying. Spend the time with me, ask me, and spend time and let it. And it kind of like experience here is that it's like a little waves will come. Oh, that wanting comes. And I've talked about it before, but he's really honing in on this as the fast means through these things. It's like just looking for, like sadness or guilt or whatever feelings arising and say, okay, I desire this experience. We get better and better at it with Jesus. Okay, Jesus, now show me the desire for this. And it will, you'll see it. You just watch it and you'll see it goes all the way to wanting it. Like, oh, I want it. And sometimes it'll take you all the way to, I actually like this sadness. I like it. And then you get to see where that miscreation is. Like we say, I don't want sadness. Do you see? Denying the denial is going, oh, I don't want sadness. Who in their right mind would? That's the ego saying that. But honesty of God is where he's going, we're really looking to see, oh man, I don't I don't want that. But then we admit it. And that's what's been so beautiful, where the beings are putting out on our iMessage group and they're going, yeah, I see, I really want this. Because admitting the denial is honesty of God. That's where we want to be, because we've spent our whole lives in the spiritual, whatever the consciousness was playing to say, no, I'm not denying that. We're denying the denial of love. So now we're accepting that we are denying who we are. And that way Jesus can help us. Then we see right in that cusp how much help we need. And then we'll ask him. And we do believe that God will retaliate against us. That's the only way the ego can stay in play. The false can stay in play by believing we're going to be retaliated against by God. You believe, so he extends it out. You believe the world can retaliate. So this is how the ego plays. You desire an experience in which the world seems to retaliate against you. So the ego plays the game of chunking up and chunking down. Chunking down is looking at a brother and going, that brother is going to retaliate against me. They're coming to get me. But the ego will chunk that up as well and make it, the government's going to get me. See, it'll make groups. They're going to attack me from Syria. They're going to attack us. See, it'll make these groups, these amorphous groups of thems over there is going to come get me. The police are going to get me. We were laughing because laughing because we were walking. I don't know where we were in Chapala. We were walking in the street and like 3 police cars came by. We're like waving to them, and we both looked at each other and thought and said something like, if I got this right, but it was like, oh my gosh, there was a time when police would go by, I would go into tension, you know, the guilt, go, oh my God, they're coming to get me, that thing. And we were just like smiling and we look at it, oh my gosh, it feels so good to be free of that belief that, you know, that something's going to happen, something's going to retaliate against us. If I do something, something bad's going to happen. You desire and experience, the world seems to retaliate against you. So that then it's this amorphous thing that's going to retaliate. Let's ask Jesus, is that in the subconscious mind in some way that the world will retaliate? I'm willing to see it. Any energy around that, release it to the miracle. You believe you can think apart from God. We have to look at this one sometimes again and again and again, really. Jesus goes, yes, you do. Because we believe so much that our minds can be apart from the Father, apart from God's mind. So we'll start with the light of infinite being. And the light of infinite being, can thoughts rise outside of the light? Look around think the light, infinite, unchanging. Are there any thoughts that are outside of the light in our direct experience? No thoughts are outside of the light. The play of consciousness is to place all of consciousness and cosmos outside of the light. So let's just ask in the honesty of God. We were watching that holographic universe. It's quite good. Number 2. It's been a long time since I watched it. Really good. It's a little confused on a few things, but the great news, like we found last night, the great news about being able to inquire on the light, you can just check in with the light with anything that appears in consciousness and ask. Anything in any movie, any line in A Course in Miracles, any line of text in the Vedas, any line in the Bible. And understand and talk to Jesus about it. The light within will tell you. So they were talking about the hologram and saying it's projected out of the brain. So let's just ask the light. Does the hologram come from the brain? It is a holographic universe, but does it come from the brain? Ask the light. Light will tell you no. Doesn't come from the brain. It comes from desire in the infinite mind to have an experience of a holographic universe, to pretend to avoid the light, actually. You ask the light that. You can ask the light. Light will tell you directly. It's a play in consciousness. They were talking about the quantum field. Quantum field. I asked the light about it. Play in consciousness. Play of potentiality in consciousness. Does the light know anything about potentiality? You can ask it. It doesn't know a thing about potentiality. It just is. It's the totality. So it doesn't have to have a potential anything. It's not looking for potential. Does love look for potential? It doesn't look for potential that I can find in the light. Maybe it doesn't have a potential. It just is. It's infinite, unchanging light, infinite love. but it's a good thing to look at in order to see that it is, even science is coming behind that the universe is a projection. And I love that. Part 2, he reminded us, go around all day and just notice the hologram, which reminds me, I'm going to look up that thing Tatsy sent me because I thought that was really adorable. I'm going to find that right now. You guys are just such great, mighty companions. Let's see, can I find it? Yeah, here it is. So she wrote me, this is so adorable. She said, for the last year, I've been saying something to myself that seems hugely effective. Throughout my day, first when I was in an unpleasant situation, but then in pleasant ones, I'd say to myself, what an interesting thing this projection is doing. It's like a reminder that it's a projection. See, isn't this interesting? And for both the good and the bad. What an interesting thing this hologram is doing. Does this hologram have anything to do with infinite light? So rather than falling into the play of the hologram, just see that the light's not impacted whatsoever by this 3D dimensional experience. It's a desire for how many dimensions? Because there are more. Some people say there are plenty of dimensions. But even if there are more dimensions, are they outside of the light? Even if it's a holographic universe, is it outside of the light? Can you look in the light and find any part of the entire universe outside of the light? When we're honest in honesty of God, it can't be outside the light. It's all a play. The play of us, the seeming body that's little and the world that's big. And it's a tiny little me getting smacked around by a big old world. When we look in the honesty of God, that it's not apart from us. Is the world, in honesty of God, when we look, is the world apart from us? The entirety of the universe. And hear what the light says. So the whole projection is to try to put it outside of us, of what is. It's an appearance, it's an untrue appearance in the light, but it can't escape the light. So what an interesting thing this projection is doing. What an interesting thing this hologram is doing today. And to continue to look to see that the hologram doesn't impact, we can't, even if we want to, we can't make ourselves a hologram. That's the light that. Did we make a world? Let's just ask that question. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, is the world real? See? No. But that's what the ego doesn't want to see. The world's not real. So we're coming back again. We're going through some things we've gone through before, but these are the ones that we really need to, all of them we need to get with Jesus and have them. So we're coming back around. We've done attack. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to do a whole attack thing because tomorrow's going to be attack filled, but it's all attack. But let's look at the basis of how attack, because we looked at order your thoughts before. We're going to look at order your thoughts again. Jesus says yes. What do we need to know about ordering thoughts, Jesus? He says there's plenty of love in just looking at this. Okay, we're going to open for miracles on this. Order your own thoughts. Well, the entire hologram depends on it. Let's ask the light. Does an entire holographic universe depend on us ordering our thoughts? Well, that's humbling. That's how powerful infinite being is. It has the power to order thoughts in such a way to create a whole hologram. let's ask the light this: is it powerful? Is it possible in the light of divine being to actually order thoughts? Does the infinite light being know anything about ordered thoughts? Okay. So then we look at the lesson. I give everything I see all the meaning it has for me. So let's ask the light. In the light of divine being, honesty of God, do I give everything I see, all the meaning it has for me? Like, yes. And so making some thoughts better than more than others. See, I'm given some thoughts. Those little thoughts are nice thoughts. Those little thoughts are bad thoughts. And then thoughts congeal into objects. And then that's a good little object over here. And here's a bad one. That was so good about what Tatsi was saying. And this was really coming in mind for a while too. We try to forgive all the things we don't like. We need to forgive the things that we like too. That's ordering thought. Okay. We need to see that they're equal. Ask the light. Do even the things we like need to be forgiven? Ask the light. See, it all needs to be forgiven because it's all that itch for the play in consciousness that some things have more value. You stack a little value on that. It's like gold has more value than silver and platinum more value than gold. Does the light see silver, gold, in any of that making a difference? See, the light doesn't order. Does the light have order? It doesn't know what order is. So we don't know what order is. Let's ask the light, can we be perfectly happy as long as we're ordering thoughts? Trying to make some thoughts more important than other thoughts. There's no supreme happiness. It's like, well, how am I going to function in the world? Well, you function fine because it's just light, it's not, there's no attachment to the order. Everything becomes the same. A celebration of all the love there is. Ordering thoughts is an attempt to limit things and objectify, make objects and appearances seem solid. You desire an experience in which you order your thoughts and thus experience the effects of the ordering. Where gold seems more important than silver. Remember, Jesus said those little coins and trinkets, you think they're important. In the light of divine being, does the light find any importance in gold or silver or any kind of money? But if we value those things more than infinite light, that will be our experience. That's how powerful our minds are. But then we miss the infinite light that we already are. That doesn't have value. Does it place value on anything? Does the light place value on anything? It doesn't know what value is. So Jesus thankfully turns our attention to what's most valuable. And that's all that we are as given by the Father, holy, whole, and complete. And then because we're so used to having a function and wanting a purpose in the world, he gives us a new purpose. Our only purpose is to see who we are right now, infinite, unchanging light. And ask for so many miracles. That was really beautiful in the Joining Truth Marguerite today. Jesus told her, because she was kind of giving herself a hard time. This will be the play of the ego too. It was helpful to see. I was grateful for that because you could see how we start to judge ourselves for not asking for miracles. Who's doing that? And Jesus was telling you, you're so hard on yourself. Just remember all the miracles you've asked for. Do you see? We forget that. I mean, the ego just forgets that it pounds us for not listening to Jesus, and it pounds us. See, that's the past. Right here, right now is the only opportunity there is to hear the voice for God. Just ask the light. Is the light asking us in any way to go back in the past and fix anything? See, it's not asking us to fix anything. That's why we got to let Jesus give us the miracles. The light's just saying, be who you are and let me take care of everything for you. Because you're worthy. You're my son. You're the Alpha and the Omega. Perfect happiness as I made you. Jump on board. Let me hand you some good miracles and let me decide what there are. You're going to be really happy. And then when you don't want miracles, call your brother. Hit that button and say, I need to join. And we'll be there for each other for this. It's the fastest means, joining. Amen to that, Jesus. Thank you for my brothers. Thank you for the joinings. They're so joyful, so much fun, so much. He's really making this looking fun. I'm telling you. I thought it'd be horrible to look down there in that basement. It'd be horrible, but it's really, he's just really showing a fun and light way for us to look. And I'm grateful for it. Amen. Oh, yes. And by the way, I'll mention, we're going to watch 13th Floor tonight. So if you got it, you feel the spark in your heart to watch 13th Floor, to look at the miscreation of the hologram of a world and wake up and realize you're living in a hologram. That's a good one. Much love to the holographic universe. Big huddles.